Deuteronomy 22. Wear clothes. Well, proper clothes, you know.
Yeah.
What?
Yes.
Yeah, this is all going to be laws until heavens, the next book, I think.
All right.
Most of the way to the end of this. Anyhow, isn't it Joshua that comes next?
We need to make my bed properly.
Well, we're going to do that in the morning.
Nonetheless.
All right, let's start with the prayer, and I think it's your turn because we did 2 and we started with you last time.
Yep. Let it out. Dear kind and gracious Heavenly Father, we thank Thee for this day. We thank Thee for the strength that Thou hast given us. We thank Thee for the safety that we have here at home. We thank Thee for the beautiful day that we have had today, and we thank Thee for the rain that has watered the land. Please bless us to have everything ready and perfect for tomorrow, and please bless us to have safety where we need to go as well. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen. We have pictures for putting our house up for sale tomorrow.
And I'm still having minor panic attacks.
Yeah, I think all of us are having a bit of a panic about this whole thing. This is a deal. Selling your house and moving is not a nice, fun thing to do.
Especially if it's across states.
Well, it doesn't matter how far it is. It can be across the county like we did last time. It was still stressful, but...
True, but that one, you could do it in parts. This time we gotta dive head first, essentially.
Do it all at once. Anyhow, chapter 22, Moses sets forth laws pertaining to lost property, wearing of proper clothes. I mean, wearing clothes is good, but there are certain clothes...
Yeah, don't walk around in your bikinis and bras only. Well,
please.
At least not openly in public.
Yeah, in your house, that's one thing. With, proper drapes closed and everything.
A bikini can be okay, but it's whenever it's a thong and that sort of thing. That,
yeah. Well,
yep.
I mean, one way or the other. Proper coverage of your body to respect yourself and to respect others so that you do not incite improper thoughts is good to do.
Yeah.
But
caring for interests of others, marrying virgins, and sexual immorality. Immorality,
yes.
I cannot English. Oh, sorry.
No, well, I guess we'll find out what it moved.
I did not mean to make a jitter.
Thou shalt not see thy brother's ox or his sheep go astray, and hide thyself from them. Thou shalt in any case bring them again unto thy brother.
And if thy brother be not nigh unto thee,
does not live near you,
if thou know him not, then thou shalt bring it unto thine own house, and it shall be with thee until thy brother seek after it, and thou shalt restore it to him again. That's sort of like finding a cat or a dog and trying to in the public and caring for it until you find its owner.
Partially that, but partially also we are all brothers and sisters in Christ, and we need to respect others' property even if we don't know who they are, because, if you have a cow walking down a street and you just take it home and never attempt to find out whose it is, or if somebody comes and says, hey, I've lost this, and you're like, no, then it's stealing.
Yep.
So this is, all people are brothers and sisters to God because we are...
And
Heavenly
if you
Father's
borrow
children.
something from someone to use it in a project, be sure to return said item.
Yes.
In like manner shalt thou do with his donkey, and so shalt thou do with his raiment, and with all lost things of thy brothers, which he hath lost, and thou hast found, thou shalt do... Shalt thou do likewise.
Yeah.
My brain flipped. Thou mayest not hide thyself.
Because that's Old English, and New English is thou shalt.
Yeah.
So, anyhow, this is an interesting thing. We have people these days who see something and go, well, they dropped it, they left it, it's mine. And as is said in the Book of Mormon, it becomes a curse on the land. People put things down and they never find it again because someone makes off with it, or God allows it to fall and be hidden, something like that. So
it's why if I find pocket change, I'm okay with picking it up, but if I find something a lot bigger, like a $20 bill or more, I'm a little more concerned about finding the owner for it. Although there was that one time I found a $5 bill flowing down a river in a storm drain. Yeah, I don't think I was going to be able to find the person who that belonged to. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Anyhow.
That was going to the sea.
Yeah. Thou shalt not see thy brother's ass donkey, or his ox fall down by the way, and hide thyself from them. Thou shalt surely help him to lift them up again. That's like the sheep that they pull out of a ditch, and it starts off, jumps across the ditch, and then it doesn't make it across again.
It falls back down the hole.
Yeah, that's something that was viral in 2020, 21, something like that. Yeah.
The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man, neither shall a man put on a woman's garment, for all that do are abomination unto the Lord thy God. I haven't seen that one before, so don't dress in drag?
Well, exactly. That was interpreted to a harsh point when women started wearing pants, because it's easier to deal with than a dress. Some women were actually thrown out of churches because they had been seen wearing pants that week. Yeah.
Okay.
And until actually quite recently, if a woman was not wearing a dress, an unsplit dress, she was shamed heavily. I mean, that started to change in the 60s when miniskirts came in, and people started going, screw this is crazy. But even in churches until the 70s and 80s, and somewhat even now, if you go into a church, your Sunday best is a dress, not pants and a t-shirt. Yeah, you do that. But,
To be fair, I have a really hard time finding the ability to wear a pure white spring gown, especially considering I don't have a lot of white clothes to wash it with.
That too. But, the point is, the societal norm has been that women never wear a split piece of clothing like pants. And I have heard, even on the Christian radio, the 106.9 that we have listened to a lot, into the 80s, there was a lady that went on a cruise with this one group. I don't remember which one it was. I listened to a couple of them. And she had pants, and she would wear them around the ship. And people were like, you okay? You're not supposed to do that. So for this verse, it became one of those Pharisaical extremes. If a woman needs to wear something that won't get hung up while she's working in the yard as a farmer, stuff like that. Dresses are incredibly impractical, especially like big hoop dresses that you can't get through a door without flashing people because it flips up both ways or whatever.
Yeah.
There is a level of, a dress is reasonable to an extent, but women died because they were working on a fire-heated stove, and the ashes fell onto this big dress that they were required to wear, and it went up.
Not surprised. That's terrifying.
So this is, what is the societal norm of men versus women, and is it realistic?
Maybe whenever it says women's garments, it's meaning like undergarments?
Well, it becomes, like you said, dressing in drag. If you put on something to make yourself look like the other person, like the other sex.
So, sort of like you're making a mockery of the person, or of that gender.
Most of the time, a person that dresses as a man who dresses as a woman, or a woman who dresses as a man, to appear as them. Now, I have heard of some, to be fair, that have done so to save their life.
Yeah.
Because, sometimes women were not properly respected.
Meet the Swiss Family Robinson, the little girl in the live-action Disney old film.
That.
She was dressed up as a little boy, so she wouldn't get in trouble.
And there were other stories of real life people who would do that. I read recently of some lady who became a saint or something. She hid so well that they didn't find out she was a man until she died.
Ah.
You know.
Wow.
Or vice versa. She wasn't a man. I'm sorry. So
I think the best way to look at this is if you're doing it as not just to pretend to be somebody you're not, if it's not like for a good cause, it's the, like I said, the mockery of the opposite. I mean, all the guys who dress in drag and go, I'm like this, I'm so fancy and nanny, nanny, nanny. That's a mockery of the sex of a female.
That's true, and also the confusion of the roles. If a person,
it's squeaking. I'm sorry.
Yeah. If a person is not respecting their role as a man or their role as a woman, and they try to say, well, I'm just going to be this way, then it becomes an evil pursuit.
Sort of like if a female tries to be the Pope. Maybe to a point.
I'm not going to say that that's impossible or impractical. I'm just saying that if a man and a woman are married and the man says, I'm going to be a woman now, what does that do to his role as a man?
And to the family dynamic as a whole.
And how does that become a toxic family that does not raise their family and those around them to respect God and respect the roles that God gave us as men and women? And we're going to get all kinds of horrible feedback off of that one.
But scientifically and genetically, I am weaker than he is.
Unfortunately.
I will never be able to lift a tire by myself anytime soon, especially not out of the back of my trunk. I can change the tire, sure, and lift it to a point, but I definitely can't get it out of my trunk right now.
You could work on that.
Yes,
but
I know.
No matter how hard you work, even if you were to start young, and if you had a man beside you at the time of puberty, his ability to have strength would outpace yours, even if the both of you were doing
scientific and genetic differences, regardless of what you do and try, will always be that way.
Now there are plenty of women who are buff, and I gotta say, if you have ever watched the crocodile guy from Australia, his wife, in some shots you can see her arms, and it's just like, dude, you've got ripples. I would not want to be in a fight with her when she was at her prime. But either way.
The ripples of muscles.
Yeah. You can see these muscles down her arm. I mean, they're small in comparison to the husband. But, dude, I would not want to have her punch me.
And you've always got to remember that there are ways to utilize your strength in ways other than brute force. I mean, have you watched Mulan, the original? She uses her wits
and brain,
more than she does brute force to actually succeed and do more than what anybody did before her.
Right.
I mean, they all were firing cannons at the group singularly. She caused an avalanche and got rid of all of them at once.
Well, relatively, but yes.
Yes, of course.
Anyhow. Let's go kick some honey buns.
No, but then she pulled it to get his fire out to get the cannon.
Yeah, that does look painful.
Yeah, that does. Anyhow, if a bird's nest... 6. We just went over 5 and...
Yeah, okay, my bad.
Talked about that for a lot. If a bird's nest chance to be before thee in the way in any tree or on the ground, whether they be young ones or eggs, and the what, mom? Yeah, mother, damn. D-A-M, not something nasty. Sitting...
It's like damsel.
Yeah, true, yeah. Sitting upon the young or upon the eggs, thou shalt not take the mother, without the young.
With the young.
Oh, yeah.
And whether it be cow or ewe, you shall not kill it and her young both in one day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
But thou shalt in any...
footnote there, is for Leviticus 22:28, talking about don't kill everything all at once because you need to have future generations.
But thou shalt in any wise let the damsel go and take the young to thee, that it may be well with thee, that and that thou mayest prolong thy days.
Ooh, that's an interesting way of putting it. If you take the babies, make sure that you let the mom go so that she can have another batch, because you don't know if you're going to have another nest of offspring in the future. When thou buildest a new house, getting some burps, then thou shalt make a battlement, parapet or railing, for thy roof, that thou bring not blood upon thy house. Oh, make a fence around the roof. Yeah. If any man fall from thence. So yeah, this is simple safety regulations. Be sure that you don't build a flat roof with open edges, because someone might fall off by accident.
Or if it's a flat roof, the water could gather if it's not angled in any way, shape, or form.
Well, that has nothing to do with people falling off.
True.
That's just putting a gentle slope to your roof to begin with.
Oh, this is when building a new house. My bad.
Right. And so, you don't want to have you get blamed for someone accidentally falling off your roof because you didn't put a railing around it.
Makes sense.
Right.
Thou shalt not sow thy vineyard with diverse seed. Was diverse like random seeds?
Yeah, basically.
Diverse, yeah.
Yeah, so don't plant wheat, tomatoes, and string beans all in the same field.
Makes sense. Lest the fruit of thy seed which thou hast sown in the fruit of thy vineyard be defiled.
Thou shalt not plow with an ox and an ass together.
Thou shalt not wear a garment of diverse sorts, as woolen and linen together.
Oh, that became a Pharisaical thing too. And I'm not sure that it was.
Hi, Lily.
I'm not sure that it was a horrible thing, but later, wool and linen did get mixed. Wool and cotton, wool and linen, stuff like that.
Didn't it cause like a fire or something?
It depends on the type, but as a general rule, it's not a huge deal. It might cause it shouldn't even cause static as bad, but it became a thing of don't do this, and if you do, you're cursed. But it's just it's this law to help keep things separate and unique for themselves. Thou shalt make thee fringes upon the quarter of thy vesture.
Upon the four quarters.
Four quarters, sorry. Upon the four quarters of thy vesture, wherewith thou coverest thyself. Now this gets into the prayer shawls, and it became a thing. Whereas they would, they started with basically ponchos of cloth. They just make a big sheet of cloth, fold it in half, sew up the sleeves, and
First they choose a fabric from the rack, they pin the pattern down, then they stitch it in the front and back, and it turns into a gown.
right. So
Princess and the Pauper, Barbie.
That they left strings off of the front right, front left, back right, and back left, and that became the prayer cord. They always left a fringe upon.
What?
Anyhow,
I'm being silly.
if any man take a wife and go in unto her and hate her, ooh, that is not a nice thing. Then despise her. Oh, that's for, yeah. You have to work at relationships, people. You don't just get married and go, thanks for the one night stand. I hate you. Bye. No.
And give her occasions of speech against her, and bring up an evil name upon her, and say, I took this woman, and when I came to her, I found her not a maid.
Ooh.
Oh, spreading bad rumors about her and saying she's not a virgin, and ooh.
Yeah, that could be. How do you? Well, I'm not gonna.
It might have a different feel.
Well, no. When you forcefully make sure that you have intercourse on your wedding night, the hymen is there and can cause some bleeding when it breaks, but there's also, if the woman is not really happy about the whole thing, she can have less mucosal creation for
Lube.
moisture, and can actually become bleeding. And so a virginal
where-
thing, when the hymen rips and or you don't stop when the woman says I'm hurting, it can cause them to bleed on the first time that they have sexual intercourse. Yeah. Don't you just love being a woman sometimes?
Yeah, totally. As if the monthly thing wasn't bad enough. Talk to
Yeah.
your parents about that if you want to know.
Yes. Then shall the father of the damsel and her mother take and bring forth the tokens of the damsel's virginity unto the elders of the city in the gate. In other words, they keep the sheets that they first had sex on and say, hey, she bled?
Oh, that makes me just feel sick.
Yeah. Yeah.
How long was the big question? Do you think they kept that?
That's something I don't want to know.
Agreed. I feel sick.
Yeah.
Then shall the father of the damsel and her mother take... Oh, my bad.
16.
And the damsel's father shall say unto the elders, I gave my daughter unto this man to wife, and he hateth her.
And lo, he hath given occasion of speech against her, saying, I found not thy daughter a maid. And yet these are the tokens of my daughter's virginity. And they shall spread the cloth before the elders of the city, and the elders of that city shall take that man and chastise him. Gee, I wonder why. How far do they chastise him?
How many times did this happen?
That's the scary part.
Yeah.
We aren't getting along. I hate her. She's not a virgin when we got married. Excuse me?
How long has it been?
Yeah. I mean, the 7-year thing is a
There's
thing.
no way they kept the sheets of that day that long.
Ugh, I dearly hope not. Good heavens. But, there is the statement that after about 7 years, and in fact, I think this is statistically proven, that a lot of men and women tend to start disagreeing somewhere between their 6th and 7th year, and a lot of affairs and stuff happen around the 7th year. Yeah, because they start going, I've gotten to know you this well, and I'm not sure I want to work this out. Divorces, affairs, and other things start happening somewhere between the 6th and 7th year, and that's when you need to not do that. You need to have couples therapy and make sure that you actually work out the problems instead of allowing them to fester and grow.
Yep.
So this could be, 7 years in. The husband's starting to go, yeah, I'm tired of this. And the wife's starting to go, yeah, I'm tired of this. And so they disagree with each other, and he throws this out.
This is why marriages are hard work and something that constantly need to work on.
Yeah.
And it's
if
also,
you aren't, you're losing it.
it is very sad to hear many stories of people who were like, I just want a fantasy romance where everything's happy-go-lucky and all that. And you mean there's hardships I have to deal with? Heck no. Bye.
Yeah, there's a very famous old one. A young girl getting married on her wedding day says, Grandma, I'm at the end of all my troubles. I'm getting married. And the grandma wisely goes, yeah, but which end?
I'm not fully sure I understand what ends she's talking about, but...
You have finished all of your childish problems, and now you get into the real problems of being married. Congratulations! You're at the end of your problems because they're just beginning.
Yep. And they shall immerse him in 100 shekels of silver. Fine him. Okay.
Amerce, Amerce.
I thought for a second that there was like immerse, like they were burying him under 100 shekels.
No, I want to look that up.
And give them unto the father of the damsel, because he hath brought up an evil name upon a virgin of Israel, and she shall be his wife. He may not put her away all his days. So you can't. Sorry, you can't divorce. You married her. You took her virginity. You work on it. Hi, Lilytail.
It's a schwa on both of them, so it's immerse. It means to punish by imposing a fine, especially one determined at the discretion of a court rather than a fixed statutory penalty.
So essentially, you get fined for saying what you've said, but you still got to work with her and live with her because you have married her, you have taken her virginity,
Right.
You're the husband, you cannot leave.
Right. Well, there is the whole thing of the bill of divorcement, but if you are an honorable person, you should not leave and you should not allow
But if
yourself
this thing
to
be
do
true
this.
and the tokens of her virginity be not found for the damsel,
Then they shall bring out the damsel to the door of her father's house, and the men of her city shall stone her with stones that she die, because she wrought folly in Israel to play the whore in her father's house. So shalt thou put evil away from among you. Dang!
So the guy just gets off with a fine, but the girl dies.
Because supposedly she's been sleeping around.
Okay.
I mean, to the extent that a woman having multiple partners is a horrible thing, this could be possible. But the sad part about this is, what if they didn't have sexual relations on their wedding night, and it took a little bit for them both to get completely comfortable with the thing, and then it happened at another time, and they didn't keep the sheets that they first had her bleed on.
Mm-hmm.
What happens then? That's the scary part of this.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
If a man be found lying with a woman married to an husband, then they shall both of them die. Both the man that lay with the woman and the woman shalt thou put away evil from Israel.
in that case, that's perfectly justifiable.
Yeah.
Which is why David should have died.
Yeah.
Oh well. And if a damsel that is a virgin be betrothed unto an husband, and a man find her in the city and lie with her.
What's up, kitty? Lily's meowing at the bottom of the stairs. Then ye shall bring them both out unto the gate of that city, and ye shall stone them with stones that they die, the damsel because she cried not being in the city, and the man because he hath humbled his neighbor's wife. So thou shalt put away evil from among you. But what if she couldn't?
If she did not cry for help,
But what if she couldn't? Like she was gagged or something, or she was
knocked out.
Yeah.
I'm sure that there will be a judgment to be had. If this is forceful rape, then yes, the man will die. But if it is not, and that's what they're saying, if the girl is going, hey, bring it on, buddy, and they happily go into this conjugation, then both of them should die. Stoned, whatever.
Yeah.
But if a man find a betrothed damsel in the field, and the man force her and lie with her, then
there it is.
Man only that lay with her shall die.
But unto the damsel thou shalt do nothing. There is in the damsel no sin worthy of death. For as when a man riseth against his neighbor and slayeth him, even so is this matter.
In this gravity. Oh, yeah. This is as important as first degree murder. Mm-hmm. For he found her in the field, and the betrothed damsel cried, and there was none to save her.
If a man find a damsel that is a virgin, which is not betrothed, and lay hold of her, and lie with her, and they be found,
then the man that lay with her shall give unto the damsel's fathers 50 shekels of silver, and she shall be his wife, because he hath humbled her, that he may not put her away all his days.
So you could be married to the one who rapes you?
No, this is
I'm confused, I'm sorry.
Well, there is a chance that could be true. And so this is a deterrent to rape, but this probably is more about the two of them willingly and happily going into this moment.
A man shall not take his father's wife, nor discover his father's skirt.
The man that lieth with his father's wife. So, even if it's a stepmother, you should not do that because it's still adultery.
Yep.
And it's especially bad. Yeah. Don't undress each other ever in front of your children or in front of someone other than your spouse, because that's just...
Make sure your doors are closed and you're not intentionally having your kids see you.
Yeah.
And by accident, well, just make sure that you cover yourself up quickly.
Oh, man. I saw a thing where a little boy wrote, he was like first or second grade, wrote about seeing his parents doing that, and the teacher was like, I need to talk to you about what you've been doing. And it was just,
There was one time where I'm glad I realized what was happening quickly, and it was a good distance away, but I accidentally saw Grandpa in the shower.
Yeah, well...
He really should have closed the door.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyhow, we don't need to deal with that. It
Thankfully.
is done and buried. And in fact, he's buried. But...
I miss him still.
Yeah. So, wear proper clothes. Have fringes on your garments to help you remember to think about God, because you can't take them on and off without dealing with those, and they actually get in the way. Marry righteously. Don't cause rape. Don't be immorality, and don't be immoral and do things that you shouldn't with sexual things, because sexual creation is such a powerful and beautiful thing for a husband and wife to share, and it really
Also a very private matter.
Yeah, it is a giving of yourself to another person, and if that is forcefully taken, or if that is taken at a time when it is not part of fulfilling a commitment to one another, to affirm and confirm a commitment and a relationship, then it becomes an evil thing that can just destroy people and destroy relationships. And I saw a short the other day of this woman who said, I've had 500 men, and it's like, you've lost every chance to have a solid relationship because you've never committed to only one person. And it was really just sad to see that.
The Fallout vaults, I don't remember which ones, but 999 girls to one man and 999
vice versa,
men to one girl. That's just bad on all accounts.
Yeah. Please mix and mingle.
Yeah.
And get married, because if you don't commit to each other and you have sexual relations, it actually can tear you apart, because it's so...
We had sexual relationships, yeah, but we're not married, so I don't care about you. What?
Yeah, that too. And
I almost guarantee you that something like that has probably happened.
Oh, by far, yeah. And one-night stands are not an unknown thing.
Yep.
But, there is such a beauty to sexual intimacy. And when it's right, with the right person, the right place, the right time, and the right reason, it makes it so good and so beautiful. And when it's not, it's just stealing, and it hurts. And it's so scary and sad. Anyhow, that is part of the mockery of changing your sexual orientation and sexual actions and clothing and everything. So,
I can understand wanting to occasionally dress up as the opposite gender, because it's sometimes
and,
fun to...
there are people who have been traumatized because of abuse or something along those lines, and they go against their native sexual orientation because they are so deeply hurt that they can't bring the two of them together in an appropriate way.
And that's understandable.
Right. But telling other people that they have to be like you,
I can
and
respect
creating the circumstances we have today with so many people not living moral lives because, hey, everybody else is doing it that I know.
I can understand you feeling like you are the opposite gender that you actually are. Sure, I can understand that. Please be respectful to what is in your
Right.
pants whenever you go to the bathroom. Because
And-
I have heard many a story of somebody going into the opposite gender bathroom, mostly to look at other people,
Yeah.
and they get scot-free from it because they say, oh, but I'm this gender. I mark myself as this gender. It's still not okay.
No, it's not.
And even if you do change what's in your pants somehow,
There's surgeries.
yes, there are surgeries. You're hurting yourself and
Yeah.
ruining yourself in so many ways.
Yeah.
And I've also heard of many people who are now suffering
And trying
because
to
of that.
reverse it.
And
they can't.
they either can't
Or they can't fully.
or it's the fact that they want to be able to do this thing, but they now can't because they
Yeah.
made that permanent decision.
Right.
If you're going to go for one of those surgeries, my best thing for you is to be 100% sure that
You're going to stay there.
Yeah.
And that's why, part of why pre-30-year-old people doing that, and I'm meaning that very literally.
Yeah.
Most people are not fully developed mentally and physically and emotionally until they are 30. Look that up. It's scientifically proven. Women are a little earlier, but men definitely not until they're 30. And if you're autistic, it tends to be 5 to 10 years later. But pre-30-year-old making that decision is either child abuse from the parents or it is a uninformed and incomplete decision because they have not fully decided how they are going to be in their life.
Two things for that. Always do your research and make sure you even have the money to cover it, because by
good grief.
golly, it's
Yeah.
so expensive.
Yeah, and it's
Heard once
very, very permanent. You can't really reverse it.
heard one story about a guy who his parents helped turn him into a girl, quotation marks, and he still had his private area, but he had to keep going back to the doctor and paying more money to keep his sperm from producing.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
yeah. That's a chemical castration instead
Yeah.
of a physical. But either way,
Please do your research before you dive
Yeah.
headfirst into something.
yeah.
Always.
Please, just go get therapy. Find out what the root cause is, and don't dive into this until you are sure that you have
This is 100%.
properly approached this concept.
And it's what you really, 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 really want.
Yeah. Anyhow, enough about this. We are talking about God, and this is time to move on. So
Yeah.
we will see you guys tomorrow, and tomorrow we will talk about. Oh, I didn't change the page. Sanitation and overall cleanliness, I think. So
All right.
we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.